Good morning. I'm Jeff Hammond, Executive Director at International Ground Source Heat Pump Association. Thank you so much for joining us for the July Town Hall. We're really excited to talk about our new training programs this month. And Greg Kurtz, our Technical Director, is joining me to also give you some exciting news on the training program. Before we do that, I do have some updates so that you have the latest IGSHPA news. All right, if you're interested in these webinars, we do have speaking slots still available for some of the town halls and Dig Deepers the rest of this year. We're also still accepting webinar advertising. So if you go to IGSHPA.org, you'll find a button called Training and Events. Click there and you'll find more information about submitting an abstract and also about advertising. We have the all of the information now on the website for the 2026 annual conference in the St. Louis area at St. Charles, Missouri at Ameristar, April 13th through the 15th. Make sure you have that on your calendar. If you go to IGSHPA.org, you're going to find registration information, hotel info. You can also sponsor the conference and submit your abstracts for speaking. All that's available. I have a note here about the exhibitor info being available next Monday, but we're actually ahead of schedule, so that is also on the website. So check that out. You'll find a lot of good information. This is going to be a great conference coming up in St. Louis. Also in 2026, you'll find the research conference. We do this one every other year. And this one is in Vienna, Austria, May 26th through the 29th. It's also on IGSHPA.org. If you go to the website under conferences menu, you'll find both the 2026 annual conference and the research conference there. The standard, we had a dig deeper last month about the 2025 edition. Hopefully you've had a chance to take a look at this. If you haven't, there's special pricing for IGSHPA members. You'll want to check this out. It's almost 250 pages and many, many updates. In fact, this is what all of our new training program is based upon. And lots of information here that has not been in a standard previously, like district energy systems. We have energy piles. We have new piping materials, sewer waste heat recovery. So it's quite expanded, and a lot of the redundant clauses have been moved to the general section, so it's even easier to use. Although it's larger in size, it's much more succinct. If you have projects that you'd like to share, we would love to have your input. Our project database is available under the About GSHPs on IGSHPA.org. The more information we can get on applications, the better it is for growing our industry. People are always asking about applications in churches and schools and commercial buildings, so we could use your help there, as well as with licensing and CEU requirements. This is sort of a living project. The more information, the better. GeoOutlook, our next edition, is the end of this month. So watch your inbox. You'll see that announcement. If you are not receiving IGSHPA emails, please let us know, because this is how you get notified when that July GeoOutlook is published. If you're not getting the IGSHPA emails, contact us at info@igshpa.org and we'll make sure that you're on the list. If you unsubscribe, then obviously you won't see this information, but also you won't get notified of your membership expiration dates or certification expiration. So it's important that you're on that list. We also are looking for advertisers and article writers for our next edition. The July edition is already in publication. We're working on that, and it'll be the last week of July. But the next edition in January, we certainly need article writers, and we always need advertisers to support the magazine. If you're looking for CEUs for this webinar, just send us your name and email address in the chat. If you can't use chat, you can put it in the Q&A, and we'll record that in the database so that you get credited for it. Also, if you're watching this as a recording, you can use this code, the 2507 WW2, and you get credit for watching the recording. You don't need that code if you're watching this live, but if you happen to be watching this recording, please submit that code when you mention it to info@igshpa.org. All right, we will be starting the presentation here soon. Greg and I will go through all the new training programs. So if you have questions, just submit your question in the chat or the Q&A, and we will read those at the end. This is recorded, as I mentioned earlier, and so you can view it later on. It's usually on the IGSHPA website in the next day or so. And just a little bit more housekeeping. Because of security settings with some organizations, it may be that you have to click OK to allow the use of chat. Some organizations do not allow the use of chat at all, so we've added the Q&A feature. Hopefully you can still use Q&A even if you can't use chat. If you can't use Q&A for some reason, just raise your hand and I'll unmute your microphone and then you can ask the question. So we should be in good shape. We haven't had any problems getting questions in the last, I don't know, 3 or 4 months. So hopefully this is working well for everyone. All right, so we will now switch over to our presentation. Fortunately or unfortunately, you're stuck with me, at least for the first part of this. So you get me for the introduction and for the start of this presentation, and then I'll turn it over to Greg for his part of it. But this is quite a game changer for International Ground Source Heat Pump Association. We've been working on this for quite some time, and some of you who are on training committees and you know, intimately involved in some of this stuff are aware of what's happening. But you know, we had to wait till we got far enough along with the training program and some of the new self-paced modules to announce it, because we didn't even know what some of them were called yet. And so now we have so much more information. We're really excited to tell you about this new training. In fact, this graphic is from our commercial design workshop that goes through all the steps for designing a commercial application. As I mentioned, Greg Kurtz, our technical director, will be joining me on this presentation. All right. So let's go through what we'll be talking about today. Some of you may be new to IGSHPA, so I'll go through just a very, very brief history. We'll talk about the new training programs, availability and sunsetting of the old courses, as well as what happens with certification and so forth. I'll get into some timing. We'll talk about the C448 standard, which this training is based upon, and then we'll have time for Q&A at the very end. All right, so if you're not familiar with IGSHPA, it's been around for a long time. In fact, even before IGSHPA was founded as an organization, Oklahoma State University was doing research on ground source heat pumps back in the 70s. It was officially founded in 1987, and the first installation manual you may have, mine is kind of falling apart now. It's losing its pages and so forth, but 1988 was the very first really detailed installation manual, and training programs started shortly after that. So IGSHPA, as part of Oklahoma State, was really the foundation for this industry, especially when it comes to training and standards. In 2020, September, IGSHPA became an independent nonprofit, which we are now. So we are now a 501c6 trade organization, no longer part of the university, and have been since 2020. So we're in the process of redoing a lot of this, building on such a strong foundation. So the new training is really big news. This is the biggest training program in the history of IGSHPA, even back to the Oklahoma State days. And part of that is just because of the enormous project size. This was really done in record time. From July 2023 to December of this year, we'll have created a completely new training program, and not just 1 or 2 courses. This is as you'll see as I go through some of this, a pretty comprehensive program. So what we're looking at here, statistically wise, I guess, is 13 new accredited courses. We'll have 10 self-paced online modules, 2 instructor-led courses, and 1 online course as part of our work with CSA Group for the accreditation and the certification. That includes 3 new certification programs, 3 new certificate courses developed by IGSHPA, some informational courses, and troubleshooting videos. So all in all, that's 20 courses, 3 certifications, and some certification programs by the end of this year. And now we're at a point where we can really talk about all these. They all have titles, they even have pricing. So we're pretty excited to go through all this. course, we could not do that without a lot of support from just, a wide swath of the industry. Fortunately, we had funding from IGSHPA members to put this together. So we really appreciate those IGSHPA members for the funding over the 2 years. IGSHPA staff has been just incredible. Everybody has played a part, from graphics to design of training programs to promotion, you name it. Lisa Malin of Malin Engineering led our CSA Group accredited training programs and certification, and she's devoted full time to this for 2 years. So she's just been incredible to work with and has really led the development of the accredited training programs. I mentioned a few names here from CSA Group. There are too many to mention, so I don't want to forget anybody, but at least these are the ones that we've been working with directly, and there are many more. That has been super helpful. CSA is, we have a long relationship with because of the C448 standard, with the binational standard, but IGSHPA, even as part of Oklahoma State, had a long relationship with CSA Group. And they have the advantage of giving us the binational programs that are ANSI accredited and also have a CSA certification for both the US and Canada. The training committee, I can't even remember how many people we have on the committee. It's a lot, 30 or more probably. And so we could not do the other training, the IGSHPA developed training, without the training committee. Too many to name, really, and this is all coming together nicely. So we have some parallel paths going with all this training coming together. Lots of subject matter experts. Again, too many to name on one slide, so I don't want to bore you with lots of text, but I certainly want to thank everyone because this could not have happened without an army working on this stuff, really. So why would we change? Well, I think IGSHPA courses have been great, and I've participated in them for years. So has Greg, but they're showing a little bit of age. Some of these are 30 plus years old, and life was a lot different 30 years ago. We had to educate people in sort of a wide audience perspective because the industry was so small and the awareness was so light that the courses were designed to really cover a lot of ground. In 2 to 3 days, we talked about everything from grouting to ductwork. And as the industry grows, we need to be quite a bit more job specific. So that's really the reason we need to change here, just to make sure that we have little bits and pieces for each of those jobs. We also need to make sure that it's binational certification, both in Canada and the US, and it's really crucial that it's based upon the C448 standard because IGSHPA has sunset the 2017 standards when this 2025 edition came out. And I should have turned this over to Greg. I just noticed, but I'll let you take it from here, Greg.
Okay, thanks, Jeff. Not a problem. So we're doing a lot of things in parallel with the CSA Group and us together. So we are moving forward with modularizing this accredited installer course that we've had for so many years. That course, like Jeff says, pretty broad. It covers everything from design to the ground loop. And so we're going to break that apart into individual modules, which are focused to help workforce development and job task specifics. So we've got that broken into residential install tech, which is going to be focusing on the indoor equipment and the indoor part of that job. We're going to do a module on the residential service tech, who would be the service technicians checking the indoor equipment. And then we've got another one that's in development for the residential light commercial ground heat exchanger installer. And so that course module is going to be focused on everything outside the building, the piping side of the job, the ground heat exchanger. And then we're also doing a residential designer workshop to help with the design of a residential system. So that AI course is going to be kind of split up into these new modules with new courses. and it's all laid out different and so much more improved. And I think everybody's going to appreciate that much better as we move forward. And it's really helping with that workforce development because all of our times are getting more and more valuable with companies and their employees for training. And so this way, just whatever course the material that the employees need, we can provide that segmented training specifically for them. And so we're also looking at creating some new courses for utilities and other stakeholders, and we'll have a little more about that later. The CSA Group has certainly been very helpful so far with creating new accredited curriculum and certification programs for us. They are in the process of replacing new course material to replace the current old CGD course, the CGI course, and the CRD course. Next slide. So there are lots of jobs. The DOE several years ago had a report about the different force tasks that are involved with the ground source heat pump system. And so they really broke it down into, as you can see here on this list, 14 different jobs. It's everything from an engineer that designs the system to ground source heat pump system trainers. So there are a lot of different work tasks that go into a ground source heat pump system. And so that creates lots of jobs, and we need kind of more broken apart training modules for each of these trades. And that's what we've been focusing on. So I won't name all these different aspects as you can read them, but there are a lot of different work segments that go into a ground source heat pump system, from a design to installation to service and even educating and training people. Next slide. So why did IGSHPA use CSA? Like Jeff alluded to, they're very well known, the Canadian Standards Association. They're an international SDO, which is a very important thing to have. They're a standards development organization that is recognized binationally and even internationally now. They work with IGSHPA and ANSI, and they have worked on a binational for Canada and the US to design and install standards for commercial and residential ground source heat pumps. So all of that is, thoroughly reviewed with vetted industry subject material experts and outside entities that verify that we've done it correctly. They have certification programs which are recognized binationally. They have decades of experience with HVAC training programs and certification. They've, done everything from gas industry to medical piping industry related things. They're just so well versed in doing these kind of things and various subjects. So we really thought that they really were the right candidates for us because they have offices around the world, from Canada to India. And we've been working with them on some different contracts, so it just made sense to use them. Next slide. So the ANSI CSA curriculum is really been signed with the CSA Group in the fall of 2023. We have 13 specialized courses that we're coming out with. So 10 of them are self-paced online modules, and 2 of them are instructor-led courses, which can be done in person or virtually. And we got 1 that will be online. So a lot of new pathways for folks to get our training, and this is really exciting. It's all curriculum, all the curriculum is accredited and vetted through ANSI and the CSA Group. And that certification is also going to provide micro-credentialing from the CSA with the certification that they provide on their courses. The course materials are based all on the C448 standard, which Jeff mentioned, and it will be completed by the end of 2025 year. So we've got a lot of things happening, and as you'll see in the next few slides.
All right, I'm going to start this video so you can kind of see one of the promotional tools we're going to be using for the online courses.
Welcome to the Ground Source Heat Pump Systems Training Program, where innovation meets expertise. Whether you want to brush up on the basics, dive into design, or explore something new, you're in the right place. This program is designed to support real-world work by strengthening knowledge, building confidence, and creating more consistency across the ground source heat pump industry. With a comprehensive suite of self-paced courses and instructor-led workshops, customize your learning path by choosing the courses that are most relevant to you. All training in this program is aligned with CSA, ANSI, IGSHPA C448 series, promoting consistency with the latest industry best practices. Start by laying the groundwork with foundational knowledge, covering essential concepts, components, systems, and processes that support a deeper understanding of ground source heat pump systems. Instructor-led workshops offer hands-on experience in either residential or commercial system design. Tailored for those in design-related roles, these sessions bring concepts to life through real-world application. They emphasize a comprehensive design approach, the practical application of standards, and the importance of single-point design responsibility. Follow-up courses are available to deepen your understanding and broaden your expertise. Topics include controls and sequence of operation, inspection milestones, and insights unearthed from the field that go beyond textbook learning. Whether you're here to explore a single topic or map out a full learning journey, this program is built to support your goals and help elevate the industry from the ground up. Dig in, discover more, keep building. To learn more or explore the available training, visit the CSA store.
All right, so hopefully you get a feel for what's happening already in just the short amount of time Greg and I have been speaking, but that video will be used as a launch pad for this self-paced instruction. And I think this is really important to our industry because everybody's busy and, you know, they specialize. As we grow as an industry, we're going to need to have a lot more specialization because we have to bring more people into our industry. And not everybody's going to need to know all 3 days of the previous courses that we've had. They need their specialty. So I'm really excited about these self-paced courses. These are 45-minute to 1-hour courses. And right now there are 10 of them. Modules 1 through 7 really are designed as prerequisites for the instructor-led courses. And then we have some follow-up courses later on. So you'll be able to purchase these 24 hours a day, watch them at your leisure, and get your micro-credentials. If you're interested, for example, in becoming a commercial designer, then you can go through these courses as you feel are needed. You'll be able to self-evaluate, determine if you have experience in this area and you don't have experience in another area. So you really customize this training program based upon your experience. If you're just out of college or university and you want to design commercial systems, then you might need all 10 of them. But if you've been doing this for a long time, you may just go directly to that instructor-led course. So this is really a big change from IGSHPA training in the past. It's way more flexible. And IGSHPA members do get a significant discount on all this training, 25% off of all the new training if you're an IGSHPA member. So we're excited about the self-paced courses, and they are done. I am pleased to say they will be available the end of this month already. So we're looking at, for the ANSI CSA curriculum, the accredited courses. There are 3 major courses besides the self-paced. The Commercial Systems Design Workshop, that will replace CGD. And this is a lot different format. So instead of covering a very broad topic, it's going to really focus on the design of the system, primarily the ground heat exchanger. So it assumes that you have those prerequisites that you may need to take the self-paced courses for. And then we dive right into the design of the system. It's based upon the ASHRAE Blue Book, the Kavanaugh Rafferty book that has been around for years and is a great resource. The residential design workshop is similar. There'll be some prerequisites for that as well that you may or may not need to take. And that will go through, again, hands-on design, just like the commercial design workshop. This system verification and inspection workshop, it replaces the CGI training, but it will also be an online course. And so that one is not instructor-led. You'll be able to take that at your leisure. This one is the last one to be finished, so we don't know exactly how long that will be, but we feel like it's probably going to be, from a combination of modules, about a day-long course, whereas the first two, the commercial systems design and residential, those are 2-day courses. So those are all in the works, and the first one is the commercial systems design workshop. Our first class will be in September already with that one. So we are done with that, as well as the self-paced modules. And this is our first opportunity really to announce all of this. All right. So let's talk a little bit about the commercial design workshop. I mentioned it's 2 days and instructor-led. It'll be focused on the C448 standard, which is a really important part of the training because these are the minimum requirements needed for a proper design and installation. We also go through heat pump performance, correcting those for the design conditions, and design an actual ground heat exchanger. There'll be piping calculations needed for sizing the ground loop pumps. And then we'll talk about pressure testing and flushing requirements, as well as water quality and water treatments. I mentioned it's based on the Blue Book. So this one is very, very comprehensive. 2 days of intense design and hands-on with examples. Similarly, the residential workshop is 2 days, and it also focuses on, is based upon C448. And similar to the commercial, other than just the actual application itself. It's going to be residential focused rather than commercial focused, but you're still going to be designing a heat exchanger and doing the calculations needed, considering water quality and so forth. So there'll be 2 completely different courses, but the structure will be very similar as far as the steps needed. It's just a smaller scale versus commercial. Our system verification and inspection workshop, we think it'll be about a day, but it is online and self-paced. So it's going to concentrate on the construction materials needed to conform to the construction documents, identify information on the plans and so forth, and make sure that everything is installed properly, especially with pressure testing and flushing requirements in the specification. So this one is really exciting that it will be available 24 hours a day online. So really a lot more accessible. And I think those in the local jurisdictions will be able to access this much easier now. The self-paced modules will work in construction in conjunction with the instructor-led courses. As I mentioned earlier, you may or may not need all of them, and so you'll do an evaluation of how that works with the self-paced modules. But based upon the previous courses, they were great material. But unfortunately, some people were, maybe already there because of their experience and didn't need it as in depth, and new individuals in some cases were lost because they didn't have that experience. So this combination of self-paced modules as prerequisites and the instructor-led, or in the case of the inspector course, a full day of self-paced, it's going to make sure everybody's prepared. Our objective here is if you come out of these courses, you're going to be able to do the work. And that's why it's such a big change. And it's really intensive, especially the instructor-led courses with examples, because you're going to be doing that in class. The certification programs, we will have 3 certification programs. We'll have a lot of micro-credentials, and then we'll have some certificate programs as well. So the certification programs, that is a CSA binational certification for commercial system design, residential system, and for the verification and inspection. The self-paced courses all have micro-credentials. So if you take, all 10 of those, That gives you a badge that you have taken that course, and then that you cross that off. You just get more experience before you go to the instructor-led course. At the end of your courses, you have the option of taking the exam. If that's not something that you want to do, you don't have to. These can simply be for informational purposes. They'll be great information, and they'll prepare you for design and other jobs in the industry. But if you do want to take that exam, then you'll have the opportunity to get the certification. So certification is completely separate from the training. Sometimes that's been confusing in the past, where you had the training and the certification, because a lot of cases the test was part of the training, but it is no longer part of the training. It's completely separate. And that's because we have so many choices. I mentioned the 20 different courses. Sometimes you just want it for information. Sometimes you need it for maybe a utility incentive, or it's a requirement in that state or province. So now the flexibility is much greater with these courses. Certification is available. We encourage it, certainly. But in some cases, you just want to know more about our industry, and a lot of these you can do on your own time. One thing I'll give you a helpful tip is, since all of this stuff is based on the standard, I'm pretty sure you can't pass the test if you don't have the standard. So you'll want to make sure you have a copy of that, because a lot of those questions are based upon design requirements, which makes sense. If that's the minimum requirement, you probably need to know that, and that's why that's on the exam. All right, Greg, off to you.
All right, thanks, Jeff. So I'm going to pick up on the IGSHPA curriculum certificate programs. And again, I kind of talked a little bit about the accredited installer course, how we're breaking that up from what it was into 4 brand new modules. And so the installer technician and the service technician, those 2 courses are done now. And we've done a couple of those trainings with a couple of our trainers already. So that's available today. The residential light commercial ground heat exchanger installation module, that one is in process yet. We should have it in the next 2 or 3 months available, or at least definitely before the end of the year. And the CSA designer workshop is being completed by the CSA Group. So we'll have all 4 of those to replace that current accredited installer course, and these will be much better, I think, for everybody in the industry to get the segment that they're looking for. They are instructor-led. It can be done in person or virtual, and we will be doing some self-paced online courses in the future, where we've already got some preliminary recordings, and we're kind of reviewing those, and a couple of the courses may be online in the near future very shortly. So we've done a lot of work on this already, and that's moving along pretty good. So next slide, Jeff. So on the installer, that part, like I said earlier, it focuses on that heat pump and the inside work primarily. So when you go to that training class and that course material, it's going to be working with that indoor side of the job, and working with the heat pump manufacturers to offer their training as an equivalent to the IGSHPA installation technician training. So the manufacturers are able to also work together with us with their brand training for installation and their course materials. And you would have the option to simply take an IGSHPA test at the end. And if you pass that, you can have IGSHPA certification from your manufacturer training on installation of their equipment. Those certifications are renewable every 3 years by submitting your CEUs to keep that certificate. And business and individual members can get discounts, like Jeff mentioned earlier, 25% from the typical pricing on discounts and renewals. Next slide. This residential service technician, that one's finished also, like I said. It's focusing on the heat pump and the loop troubleshooting side. So those are really important to have, and the technicians. So this helps them understand that water side part of the job on water source, ground source heat pumps, and focusing on that. We again will work with the manufacturers and their training programs where they would be able to use the IGSHPA test at the end, and their training could be IGSHPA certified with a certificate, just like the installer course, and the same kind of bullet points here, as you saw on the installer, are applicable as well. So these two courses, like I said, those are ready now, and we're doing some training already on them, and there'll be some more scheduled this fall. Next slide. This course, the residential light commercial ground heat exchanger installation course, is about 90% done. The subcommittees have given us all the content, and we are in the process of formatting and sorting that out and doing the final formatting so we can get it ready to go to the field. So it's going to focus on just the outdoor portion. So the ground heat exchanger installation that's outside the building, where they would pipe that up and bring it up to the building or bring it into the building for the inside mechanical to hook up. That's what this course material is going to focus on. So it's not about the indoor equipment side at all, really. It's about all that outside piping and groundwork. This is an instructor-led course, and you can take the IGSHPA online test to obtain a certificate of successful completion with it. Then again, it's renewable every 3 years with CEUs to keep that certificate, and the discounts and so forth apply as well. So we're really excited to have this course just for the ground loop coming out. Other new IGSHPA courses that we have, this one is called Selecting a Ground Source Heat Pump Team, and it's focusing primarily on commercial and industrial projects, but the content kind of applies to even residential in some form. So this is a great course, and I don't think too many people have actually participated with it yet. It's online. It's on our training events area. You can sign up for it. It's a web-based training now, and it's self-paced. So you can watch it online, or we could do an instructor-led version of it if you would like. We have it available in both formats, but the topics are really helpful for like a building owner who's thinking about doing geothermal in their project, and they're going to maybe hire some engineers, some consultants, some contractors, mechanicals, and maybe inspectors to kind of oversee the project. This is a really great course to educate people about things they need to understand in putting together a project, in contractors that you might hire, and things that are going to be involved with the project as it's developed and installed and completed and commissioned. So we go through topics like requests for information, how to write requests for proposals, how to do requests for qualifications to make sure that your bidders are properly qualified to do the project that you have, and how to gather project information and what project information is going to be needed for the project. It really helps when you go to select an engineer to help with the project, or if you're going to think about what kind of ground heat exchanger you could do on the site. It helps direct you with some basic knowledge about what's involved that people have to do, as well as the thermal conductivity testing process, how that would go, what's required, what should be done, as well as the equipment sizing and controls portion once you get to the equipment side of it, and then the coordination and installation of the ground loop, and then final contract administration and quality assurance details that really should be followed through as this project's being installed and designed and completed. This course, I think, is just underutilized, so I hope everybody will take a look at this course and share with the information about the course with folks who may be thinking about doing a ground source project. It's really helpful. I think it's a great course. Next slide, Jeff. So some of the other courses we have, which are new, would be the Geo 101 for electric utilities. We have a program that can go out to help the electric utility industry understand the benefits of ground source heat pumps and help them with that. That is complete and ready to go. We also have a service technician for trade school curriculum. That one is in the works. So we're trying to take the service technician training that we have and get it set up for trade school curriculum so that the maybe vocational school or a local community college could have something for them, as well as some installer training for the same kind of design. Those are both in the works, and we're doing a lot of try to get more involved with the trade schools and the college universities that are doing HVAC programs to help them include and incorporate ground source heat pumps into their curriculums. And so we are developing things currently for that right now. And there's some driller training coming. So IGSHPA is working close with the Geothermal Drillers Association, which is a new association. If you're not familiar with them, you want to check them out. If you're a ground heat exchanger driller, they certainly would be somebody you want to partner with, as well as the National Groundwater Association and Fleming College, labor unions, and some other stakeholders. We're kind of collaborating with several of these different entities to help with getting some driller training out in the industry for us. Next slide. So what's going to happen to the current training and certification that we have currently? We are working closely and monitoring things like the initiatives in New York and New Jersey and Ontario and some other programs that require training. And we are going to be working with those states who have already requirements for our current training to hopefully get them to move forward with some of the new materials we're coming out with, these new courses and new certifications, which will be as good and even way better than what they have currently in their curriculum requirements for the incentives. The accredited installer will be available until the programs are no longer needed by these incentive programs. It will be replaced with the new modules that I've mentioned that we're bringing out. And the Certified GeoExchange Designer, that as well will be available until the new commercial design workshop is out, which will start in September. And then the Certified Geothermal Inspector course is going to be sunsetted this fall, and we'll be rolling out the new course that CSA Group is doing for replacing that one. Next slide. So AI, CRD, which is a Certified Residential Designer, the CGD, the Certified GeoExchange Designer, and the Certified Geothermal Inspector certification, those can be renewed indefinitely as long as you maintain your CEUs and you don't let it lapse. So we'll let those folks who have already done that training continue on with that. But for new training, we'll be using our new versions. So you're going to have a chance to upgrade and move over to the new versions when they come out. They may probably have to take some new training and get some of the new certification requirements completed on top of what they've already got. But we're going to work on a bridge path to let those folks to move to the new certificates and certification programs. As we have talked about in the training updates, there will be some new exams that go along with them because there's a lot of material added in these new courses that are based on the newer version of that C448, which is really important. And like Jeff mentioned earlier, you're going to need to really become familiar with the new edition of that C448 because all these training programs are based on that. So watch your inbox and the website for further details on this. But we'll be working with everybody involved to make the transition as we're moving forward. Next slide, Jeff. The timing, IGSHPA's website's been updated, and we are adding more by the end of July here. The self-paced courses are going to be available in late July. So the next couple of weeks, we'll be bringing more of those on. And the marketing materials become available as well in end of July, early August for these new courses. And the first commercial geothermal design workshop is going to be in September up in New York, as Jeff mentioned. The verification and inspection workshops are available online, and those will be coming by the end of this year and maybe the early quarter of 2026. We'll have to see how that finishes up here, but it's definitely in process and pretty well on its way, as well as a residential design workshop, which will probably begin at the beginning of 2026, or maybe the last edge of the fourth quarter, but we kind of have to see how time rolls with what we can get finished on those. Next slide, Jeff. The residential installation technician training is available now, as I mentioned. The service technician one is available now, and the residential light commercial should be coming before the end of 2025. And we've got the selecting the ground source heat pump team that is available right now online, and the Geo 101 for electric co-ops is available currently right now. And we're going to have other training and webinars come out, which will be on the works shortly. So it's, like Jeff said, really exciting. 20 plus new courses, which will be rolled out by the beginning of 2026. And we are really excited and anticipating a lot of participation in them, because there's going to be much better structure than what we even had before, which was good. But I've spent quite a bit of time looking through a lot of this material, and I can tell you it's really going to be a good thing. I think you're all going to like it. Next slide, Jeff. So the key is really understanding this new standard and the updates that have been added since the 2016 version of it. So you're going to really need to probably look into getting a copy for yourself. And if you're an IGSHPA member, we have a discount through our store where you can buy it. If not, you'd like to get a paper copy. By the way, the IGSHPA version will be a digital PDF, a license per individual. And if you need a paper copy, you would get that probably through the CSA store or the ANSI store. And those are $250 on their store for those. But this would be really important to become more familiar with the new upgrades in the standard that's been out since 2016, 2013, I think might have been an early version. So been a lot of updates to it, but the courses are based with this material content. So I think it's going to be really well accepted into the industry. So we're really excited about all of these changes and these new releases that have came out in training and the standards. And I think our industry is poised to really grow with this kind of material to back you up as we move forward in the industry. Over to you, Jeff.
All right, thank you, Greg. And just in time for questions. I think we have some time here, and quite a few questions have come in. So I stopped sharing my screen. If you'll enter your questions in the chat or Q&A, that would be great, and then we'll read those. I do see one person with their hand up. If you could enter your question in chat or Q&A, that would be helpful. If you can't, then leave your hand up, and we'll call on you once we've looked at some of these questions here in the chat. So a whole bunch of them here. Bear with me while I scroll through these, and then Greg or I will take a look at it. Dimitra has a question here. Looking for the best GSHP course certification for energy efficiency consultant, which recommends various energy efficiency measures to customers, not for designing the systems. Greg, do you want to take that, or shall I?
Read it one more time for me.
Oh, I'm sorry. Looking for the best ground source heat pump course certification for an energy efficiency consultant, which recommends various energy efficiency measures to customers, not for designing the systems.
So it's more of an energy focus. Probably even the GEO 101 for utilities could be utilized for something like that, I think. The residential design or the commercial design, those are get into design. They do talk about energy and performance, but I don't think they do a lot of comparison stuff, which may be what they're looking for. So my initial first glance would be maybe the GEO 101. We could do a course for that, work with you and customize something if there's a big need for it.
Okay, thank you, Greg. All right, Steve has a comment here. If you're looking for trainers for the loop training, let him know. So we'll keep that in mind for sure. Jackie says she saw 2 different versions of residential system designer course, one that was part of the group 4 of courses, replacing accredited installer, and possibly another one built by CSA. Greg, since you've been intimately involved in the modules for accredited installer, you want to give Jackie an update on those 4 courses that will be replacing accredited installer?
Yes. So the courses that we're replacing the current AI accredited installer are the residential installer course from IGSHPA, the residential service technician basic training from IGSHPA, and then the residential light commercial ground heat exchanger training from IGSHPA. And then the 4th module for that would be the residential designer, which will be a CSA version. That'll be an accredited course through CSA. So that will be taught by them through their program, but it's all based on our material content input. So those are the 4 courses. I hope that answers the question.
And to build on that for Jackie, we're also looking for instructors for these new courses. So
yes.
So if you've been teaching accredited installer, it's really a nice fit. Whether it's an IGSHPA created course or whether it's a CSA created course, we'll still be using. It's not IGSHPA staff who's teaching this. I guess I should clarify. All right, Andy has a question here. I'll take this one, Greg, since I've been throwing all the rest of them to you. If the current CGD course remains relevant and in place subject to renewing correctly, will the new training and certification carry more weight with specifiers? Would it be advisable for CGDs to take the new courses to gain the new certifications? So should CGDs complete the modules but not recertify to ensure knowledge is moving on? A lot of questions there, good questions. So if you have the CGD certification through AEE, you can continue to use that for as long as you like. AEE will maintain that certification. If you want the new certification, you do have an advantage as being a CGD. You can just take the new exam for the commercial design certification. So you could have both in that case if you like. That's really your call. If you want to take the new certification exam and that's the one you move forward with, that's fine too. So it's really your call, however you want to do that. There will be some update courses available, primarily because of the major changes in C448. And so I would recommend that you get that standard as well. I know I sound like a C448 salesperson, but because it's such a crucial part of the new training, if you're CGD, you can keep your existing certification or you can get the new certification, but you really should have the new standard. Janine has a question here. If you want to take this one, Greg, will it be possible or required to challenge the exam if you've previously been credentialed with CRD and you want the new CSA certification?
Yes, you can definitely challenge the exam without taking the whole course, like Jeff said on the CGD course. The residential designer course could be done the same way. So if you feel you have enough knowledge on the CSA courses, you can go right for the test and test out of it. If you feel you've got it. But like Jeff and me both kind of broken record said, you want to make sure you got a good background on the C448 standards, because this upgraded standard has a lot of new things, and that's incorporated in these classes and these training courses.
All right, I'll take this one, Greg. Gerald asks, will the certification exams be online or do they have to take the exam at the location? They're all online, whether they be the CSA developed courses or the IGSHPA courses. So they're much more accessible for sure. You don't have to travel someplace. And I will take this next question, Greg, since this one is about purchasing an old course. Michael purchased the accredited installer course, but he hasn't taken the exam yet. He's asking, where does this leave him with the new approach? Well, you certainly can take the exam for the accredited installer, and that way it's relevant to the course that you just took. I would recommend you go ahead and take that exam and get that certificate. Later on, if you decide you want to take some of these other courses or you want some new certifications, this is just a great resource, because you've gone through essentially 3 days of training already. So it's not wasted time. It's just that things are changing, really. All right, Jason has a question. I'll let you take this one. We got a lot of great questions here. If you have your CGD in training and pass the class, what's your recommendation? Should you pursue the new commercial certification, or should you proceed with CGD? What's your opinion on that, Greg, since you've been involved with the CGD board?
I would say you would definitely want to consider keeping the CGD. You've got the credentials, you should do that. But as you have time and you want to move over to the new one, you could bridge on over to the new course and add that to your portfolio of your credentials that you have. So it's really good training that you've gotten, and the next level of the new training is going to be built on top of that. So it would be probably a little more new knowledge you may pick up that maybe wasn't provided in the earlier versions. So like everything, when we make new versions, there's new improvements, and it's always worth to try to get to the latest and greatest, right? I think so. It wouldn't be a bad thing, but you've not done the wrong thing. You're just in a transition stage. So stick with both of with that one, and then you can move forward when you have time and you feel you're ready.
Thank you, Greg. All right, I'll take this next one, Greg, and then you can take the one after that. Rick asks, does a rural electric co-op or trade school need to be an IGSHPA member in order to access the courses for those organizations? They do not need to be a member. We would love to have rural electrics be members of IGSHPA. It certainly helps build our organization, but it also gives them access to a lot of information that they wouldn't have if they're not a member. So they don't have to be, but we have worked on this course for co-ops with GeoExchange, and I think it's a great way to get co-ops involved. So I would recommend, Rick, that you reach out. We can schedule some courses. Fortunately, GeoExchange has paid for the materials through I think the end of this year. So it's really a great way to get the utilities involved. And Greg, if you'll take this next one from Jackie, not sure if this was overlooked, but what should existing trainers do to get ready to teach the new courses beyond attending a trainer recertification? Will the trainer certifications be needed separately for each course, or will there be a trainer training focused on multiple instructor-led courses at once? And Jay asks about trainer requirements. So that is perfect timing.
Okay. I'll try to answer this, and you can join in if I don't get everything right. So probably it would be good if you could go through the course materials to understand it yourself. And then, we'll do if you've done trainer already, I think then you would probably be good to go on that particular course. But the trainers that we're using, we want them to be trained specifically on that course content materials. So if you don't have any of that prior, you should take the course to become a trainer, and then we'll do a train the trainer to verify that you're really ready to go as an instructor for that. So for those of you that are currently instructors on the current same kind of title product, it will be a pretty easy transition over to the new one. But if you've never been set up yet on any of the training courses, we want you to take the course first so you understand it, and then we'll do a train the trainer program with that to evaluate and qualify you for that before we turn you loose out there doing the course materials. That would be a requirement.
All right. Let's see. That looks like Jay has a follow-up question about the St. Louis training. Let me just read that here quickly. We've got a lot of great questions here. Yeah, the train the trainer in St. Louis was for the service technician and the installer technician course.
Right.
So you would be in good shape there if you went to that trainer. But stay in touch. Greg is really coordinating those train the trainers for the IGSHPA developed courses, and then we work directly with CSA for the train the trainer for the CSA developed courses. But in all cases, we want to make sure we have enough trainers and good quality trainers for sure. It is 11:30 right now, so in respect of everybody's time, I certainly appreciate it this morning. Reach out if you have the other questions. I see we have 3 more questions that we didn't get to in the chat, but I'll respond accordingly, and actually in the Q&A, I should say. And thank you for your time today. I hope you have a wonderful week. This will be recorded and online here in the next couple of days. If you have any additional questions, feel free to reach out, and we will be happy to share all of the exciting news. Thank you very much. See ya.